Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivara Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanantari Jamuna Tira Vanantari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanantari Yamuna Tira Vanantari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Gaur Pimanande, Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajgacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Shirabai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Skandi Biti, Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Dainitai Gaur Pimanande, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tribhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Presabhadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhaviti Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Tamasloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pagom langayate girim yatkripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning program. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 18, entitled Maharaj Parikhit, Cursed by a Brahmana Boy. And today, 48, huh? Yes. Okay. Tiraskrita vipralabdha shaptaha kshipta hata api nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhaktaha prabhavu api hi Tiraskrita vipralabdha sapta kshipta hata api nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopihi Tiraskrita vipralabdha sapta kshipta hata api nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopihi Tiraskrita vipralabdha sapta kshipta hata api nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopihi Tiraskrita vipralabdha sapta kshipta hata api nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopihi
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
sapta kshipta hatapi
sapta kshipta hata api
nasya tat pratikurvanti
nasya tat pratikurvanti
tadbhakta prabhavo apihi
tad bhakta prabhavopihi
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
sapta kshipta hata api
sapta kshipta hata api
nasya tat pratikurvanti
nasya tat pratikurvanti
tadbhakta prabhavopihi
tad bhakta prabhavopihi
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
sapta kshipta hata api
sapta kshipta hata api
nasya tat pratikurvanti
nasya tat pratikurvanti
tadbhakta prabhavopihi
tad bhakta prabhavopihi
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
Tiraskrita vipralabdha
sapta kshipta hata api
sapta kshipta hata api
nasya tat pratikurvanti
nasya tat pratikurvanti
tadbhakta prabhavopihi
tad bhakta prabhavopihi Tiraskritaha
Tiraskritaha
being defamed
being defamed
vipralabdha
vipralabdha
being cheated saptaha
saptaha
being cursed
being cursed
Chiptaha,
shiptaha
disturbed by negligence,
disturbed by negligence
hattaha,
Ataha,
or even being killed,
or even being killed
api,
api
also,
also
na,
na
never,
never
asya,
asya
for all these acts,
for all these acts
tat,
tad
them,
them
pratikurvanti,
pratikurvante
counteract,
counteract
tat,
tat
the Lord's,
the Lord
bhaktaha,
bhakta
devotees,
devotee
prabhava,
prabhava
powerful,
powerful
api,
api
although,
although
he,
he
certainly,
certainly
translation and purport by His Divine Grace, C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed they are never inclined to avenge themselves. Kindly repeat after me. The devotees of the Lord
The devotees of the Lord
are so forbearing
are so forbearing
that even though
that even though
they are defamed,
they are defamed,
cheated,
cheated,
cursed,
cursed,
disturbed,
disturbed,
neglected,
neglected,
or even killed,
or even killed,
they are never inclined
they are never inclined
to avenge themselves.
to avenge themselves.
Report. Rishi Shamika also knew that the Lord does not forgive a person who has committed an offense at the feet of a devotee. The Lord can only give a direction to take shelter of the devotee. He thought within himself that if Maharaj Parikhit would counter curse the boy, he might be saved. But he knew also that a pure devotee is callous about worldly advantages or reverses. As such, the devotees are never inclined to counteract personal defamation, curses, negligence, etc. As far as things are concerned, in personal affairs, the devotees do not care for them. But in the case of their being performed against the Lord and His devotees, then the devotees take a very strong action. It was a personal affair, and therefore Shamika Rishi knew that the king would not take counteraction. Thus, there was no alternative than to place an appeal to the Lord for the immature boy. It is not that only the Brahmanas are powerful enough to award curses or blessings upon the subordinates. The devotee of the Lord, even though he may not be a Brahmana, is more powerful than a Brahmana. But a powerful devotee never misuses the power of personal benefit. Never misuses the power for personal benefit. Whatever power the devotee may have is already utilized in service towards the Lord and His devotees only. Translation again. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. We have in the history actually many such examples of devotees, even fully surrendered devotees, not just new devotees or even the most surrendered of all the devotees can expect to have or to meet all kinds of, Prabhupada calls them reverses in life. The Lord allows His devotees to be put in, at times, extremely difficult situations. And this is what is being explained here in the purport, that when one is fully surrendered, he is simply accepting all things. He actually accepts things in the mood of mentality that this is the mercy of the Lord. A devotee learns to see all things that are happening to him personally as the Lord's mercy. Even so-called bad things or very difficult things that are happening. That cannot, of course, be imitated. And that's a very good policy, actually, because that that makes for dealing with situations. If one has that understanding, or if one follows that policy, then then life is seen in a very different way. Otherwise, those who have not developed this kind of understanding, those who are being on the bodily platform, those who are attached to their to how people perceive them, they will immediately take objection when something wrong, so-called something wrong, takes place. Rather the opposite, as Prabhupada would explain in one lecture, describing all of the great difficulties in which the Pandavas were put. I mean, they're all surrendered devotees. They're all, they're relatives of Krishna. They're all intimately connected with the Lord. But if you analyze all of the difficulties in which they were put, and Prabhupada goes on listing all of these very difficult situations, but all of those situations, some of which were life-threatening, the end result was that this increased their love and affection for Krishna. The opposite of what normally happens to people who don't have that type of consciousness developed. So in the purport, Prabhupada also makes a point regarding it's not only brahmanas who are powerful, who can curse, but actually anyone who is, and that comes, that connects us with that very major debate, which is probably still ongoing, that was highlighted during the life of both Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We're not so much interested in just developing the qualities of Brahmana, which of course are desirable qualities. We're not simply interested in developing, let's say, the powers that, just like in this case, a Brahmana boy, even a young boy, can develop Brahminical powers. One who is, Prabhupada makes that statement in the purport, one who is a devotee. Devotee here means Vaishnava devotee. A Vaishnava devotee is much more powerful than, let's say, common, ordinary Brahmana. Most Brahmanas actually are not Vaishnavas. So the ideal is to actually become, first and foremost, whether we are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra within the system, Vedic system of Varnashram, that is very secondary. I mean, we give it a lot of importance, but it's secondary in the context of what is more important is to be a Vaishnava, to develop the qualities of a Vaishnava. And that's one of the important instructions given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kiba vipra kiba nyasi shudra keni noy, je Krishna tattva veta se guru hoy. Those who know the science of Krishna, Krishna consciousness, those who are actually devotees. Devotees means devotees of Krishna, those who are Vaishnavas. Then, if they are actually Vaishnavas, fully surrendered, they can go anywhere in the material world. They can meet with any situation, and by their developed consciousness of being fully surrendered, they will be able to face all kinds of, we call, trials and tribulations that await everyone in the material world. So it is not that because somebody becomes a devotee that he will not be spared. Very often, actually, the opposite happens. Seemingly, before I became a devotee, I didn't have all these problems. Or
many people say that. Many people say that, make that
yeah,
statement.
I should go back to just being my normal self. So yeah, it happens a lot that when we take that kind of major decision, it's a major decision. It should be seen. It has to be seen. It has to be experienced, all of us at some particular time, as a major decision to fully dedicate ourselves to actually become devotees of Krishna. Because it is, it means having to accept difficult situations. So this is one of the main points mentioned here, that for our own personal self, we can tolerate. We should learn. We have to tolerate. We should learn to tolerate all kinds of situations. But for the sake of the Lord and for the sake of the Lord's devotees, then we should not tolerate. That's
Strong actions.
Huh?
Strong actions can be taken.
Yes.
Prabhupada.
That's a whole science and art, which is, we could say hidden. I say Vedic knowledge has all kinds of secrets. People like secrets. What's your secret? People like to know. The Vedic knowledge and, a way of life simply cannot be understood. What is that verse? Atas Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grayam indriyai. Sevan mukhe ijivado swayam eva spuratyada. We simply cannot perceive or understand properly unless we adopt the process and the method which is prescribed in the Shastra. One of my godbrothers just sent me an article. I didn't get a chance to read it. The importance of reading or seeing or understanding things through the eyes of Shastra. There are three ways that we are to follow. as devotees, as Vaishnavas, Shastra being one of them, Guru, and then Sadhu. And because there's a whole ongoing debate actually on these points, how to actually come to a proper conclusion or understanding of some aspects, whether it's Guru Tattva or this Tattva. Someone a few days ago sent, you know, the ongoing question means the fall of the jiva. It's like one can debate for the whole of eternity and not come to a conclusion. The fall of the jiva, he was asking that. So this is being expressed here, how Parikshit Maharaj, such an exalted personality, Prabhupada mentions, he actually could have counteracted, counter-cursed, but he accepted that as the arrangement of the Lord. And if we develop this kind of mentality, then life actually becomes much easier. Otherwise, we're constantly, because that's the nature of the material world in general, and even more so when we live in a society where the principles, the various cultural aspects that are highlighted and that are so very much highlighted in the Vedic culture are practically totally absent today. In other words, expect to be abused. We should expect to be insulted. We should expect to be misunderstood, etc., like this. And therefore, unless we adopt this mood and mentality, which is only possible when we adopt the principles of what our Goswamis are describing, the principles of Sharanagati, which means of more and more surrender. Srila Prabhupada had to face so many instances. He demonstrated both sides. For himself, he was always in control, but for saving his Juhu temple, he was fired. He was, Prabhupada, very often devotees, maybe those who were not devotees, or even some of his devotees, could not understand. Prabhupada used to get very angry, and more than once. Devotees were even afraid of just getting a little too close to Srila Prabhupada, or even asking certain questions, because Srila Prabhupada was, exemplifying, these qualities that for himself, okay, he tolerated so many things, but for for his mission and for the standards that he expected in his temples, and for the preaching, he had very high expectations, and it was part of the training that he gave actually to especially his early disciples, who had no choice but to be close to him. Later on, those who came afterwards, they were, most of them, because very often people will ask disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and what conversations did you have with Prabhupada? What did Prabhupada tell you? And not knowing and understanding that actually the majority of Prabhupada disciples never had any conversation. I mean, at best, if they heard, or at best, if Prabhupada looked at them, or if they received even a word or two, I mean, that was like highlight. Because majority actually did not.
My Guru Maharaj also he was.
Yeah. I mean, I never had any exchange with Srila Prabhupada. I mean, I was there, but we, most devotees who joined, there were exceptions, of course. Bhakti Charu Maharaj was one rare exception. Bhakti Charu Maharaj, because, I mean, he only physically saw Srila Prabhupada in the early 1977 at Kumbh Mela. He came to Mayapur. I was here in Mayapur actually when he came. In after Gaur Purnima, 1976. He came specifically to meet Prabhupada. I was wondering, how is it I didn't have so much interaction with Prabhupada? Well, before coming to India, Prabhupada, especially in the later years, I was traveling extensively. Of course, then his health was a major issue and he could not travel so much. And, by 76, Prabhupada's health was becoming more and more of an issue. And so, 76, Prabhupada was here for Gaur Purnima. And then after Gaur Purnima, he was in Vrindavan. But after Vrindavan, he never, I came back to Mayapur, March sometime. But for that, and then Bhakti Charu Maharaj came like maybe April or May, something like that, expecting to see Prabhupada. Prabhupada never came back that year to Mayapur. He was traveling and he was maybe, I don't know exactly. So he had to wait for the Kumbh Mela, 1977, Prayag. And because, those who were here in Mayapur, I remember vividly, it was really something rare to see someone educated, very intelligent, who was like, I'm here to surrender fully, And so the devotees, the leaders here, I don't know the details as such, but they, knowing that Prabhupada would be at the Kumbh Mela, they arranged for him to go for Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who was still a new Bhakta, Bhakta Kishore. So the first time he actually physically saw Srila Prabhupada, even at the Kumbh Mela, he couldn't speak with him. He just had darshan, I think. And then Prabhupada maybe left a little earlier, the Kumbh Mela, so the devotees arranged that he travel on the train. So the first time he actually met Prabhupada, just picture this, it's on a train, and the devotees, they would reserve these kind of...
compartments.
Coupe.
Yeah, small, coupe they call it, yeah, right. Coupe, small, yeah. So, not at all big. So, Prabhupada was sitting in that compartment, and, Prabhupada was always surrounded by so many, 77.
Surrounded by all the leaders. Sannyasi leaders.
Yeah, right. So the coupe was full of devotees, but one of the co-directors, I forget, I think it was Bhavananda, he brought a Bhakta Kishore and opened the door and he just shoved him in. There was no place to sit. This first time he's going to meet physically, and exchange with Prabhupada. So he didn't know, sannyasis are already sitting on the floor. Prabhupada is sitting on the bench. So then Prabhupada tells him, sit here, beside me. He refuses. he tries to get out of it, but Prabhupada insists. So he sat beside Srila Prabhupada, he's a devotee. And then someone introduced him, because it's the first time he's meeting, that this is Bhakta Kishore, and he's been reading your books, especially Nectar of Devotion, whatever it is that they explain. And then Prabhupada started to speak to him in Bengali.
In Bengali.
The devotees lost, lost contact with him. Nobody knew Bengali. They're all foreigners, with Srila Prabhupada mostly. And then Prabhupada tells him in that first sitting, okay, I want you to translate all of my books in Bengali. That's the first order, the first meeting. So, otherwise devotees, majority of devotees, like myself, we had darshan of Prabhupada, but it was like practically, well, there was even, instructions probably from 74 onwards or 75, don't write to Prabhupada. He's too busy. He can't answer all it. He was answering, as we know, so many letters are there that are recorded and printed and whatnot, that have been sent by devotees who were fortunate to receive. Because that was there was a standard. Whoever was a temple president, he had to write at least once a month to give a report. Prabhupada had wanted. He had that system. You write to me, and you tell me about how things are going on. So there was a natural, and some of them wrote possibly a bit more and whatnot. So those devotees especially. Then others who somehow were brave enough, to write to Srila Prabhupada if they had a question or whatever. So, Srila Prabhupada was, of course, exemplifying that nature of being very, very compassionate towards not only his devotees, but the foremost quality of a Vaishnava. But Prabhupada was extremely strict, very, very strict with his disciples, and would often, you can hear from, so most devotees were not that close to Prabhupada that they could have that mercy of being chastised like Prabhupada. But everyone knew that if one,
Maharaj, I remember a particular pastime where, you also see Prabhupada being very serious or chastising or angry for the sake of service, but he personally never took an offense.
personally,
He personally did not get angry or took any offense.
oh yeah, for himself, correct.
In one particular instance, there was installation of deities at some center in Europe. I don't remember the place. And Prabhupada arrived, and he was very upset that things are not in place. Everything was discord, nothing timely, no arrangement. He was pointing out this, pointing out that, just citing this person, that person. And a new hippie who was, had just walked in, had very limited information, and he saw why Prabhupada is so angry. And then he walks up to Prabhupada and tells him, why are you so upset? Just sit down, relax, and chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada looks at him, he does not say anything, and he does exactly that. He goes to the chair and just sits and does
I
not
heard
say a
that
word and
also.
chants Hare
Right.
Krishna. It's amazing. He does not understand Prabhupada is not angry because he doesn't have control over senses. He's just striving for the benefit of his
for
disciple.
teaching his.
If he was really angry, he would have, cursed that person.
Yeah. Who are you?
Who are you to tell me, right? But this exactly exemplifies what this verse is saying. He's
Yes.
not taking off.
Yes, yeah. Many incidents.
There was one instance when Srila Prabhupada was sitting and they had to put a picture behind him. So devotee was hesitant. And Srila Prabhupada said, you can do that. For the service you can step on.
Yeah, you can step on my head, whatever. Yeah, correct.
I think picture of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati.
Yes, yes. Yeah. There's a lot of, I'm sure some of you have it's very enjoyable, very inspiring, and very instructive also to hear what they call it memory series.
Yes, yes.
He would also chastise sometimes to one very close disciple. He said, "You are too intelligent to roll a chapati because you are not able to roll the chapati." Prabhupada showed him, he said, "You are putting too much of trying to use brain."
Yeah, I mean, today, one has to take some time to read or to hear these exchanges and these memories actually from, especially some of those early devotees, because our devotees nowadays are generally, not all, but generally kind of spoiled and just don't understand what was. Of course, we have to take into consideration that Prabhupada was like he was pioneering a whole new movement.
New, almost like new sampradaya.
And he had to teach every single detail.
Right.
People not
Yeah, he was dealing with monkeys. So
To
many.
the point that hand is clean because I have eaten with a spoon.
They're right.
Yeah, that's one famous. There's another one where he's giving a class and he sees someone mopping the floor. He says, "That's not how you mop the floor." He gets him in the middle of the Bhagavatam class from the Vyasas and picks up the mop and he
Very
says,
similar. Yeah. Because Prabhupada started his movement in Malaysia there. So no Vedic culture. And
Quite interesting. I mean, those years of Indian culture, we are speaking about like 100 years back almost, when Prabhupada grew up.
right.
And then going to the West, where Prabhupada was here taking 3 times bath.
Yeah.
And then he is getting in the West and he was teaching how to put on dhoti, how to put on your
sari to his female disciples. Person, imagine a sannyasi doing it.
So, yeah, founder Acharya, and that's why it's very, very important to understand that very strong and elevated position of the founder
Yeah.
Acharya.
Yes.
Prabhupada is so tolerant to so many things. I mean, otherwise this whole movement would have not started. We remember that Jagannath deity is being carved under it.
Right.
There was a
Cigarette on the
Cigarettes
top.
there. Jayanant.
Yeah, right. I think about. Yeah, I mean, Prabhupada was the devotees, most devotees, or at least, most devotees understood that what Prabhupada was doing. I mean, I understood to some extent that what Prabhupada was doing in terms of opening temples. Of course, the early devotees, like when Prabhupada left New York and went to San Francisco, that was like the second temple that Prabhupada opened. Many of the devotees could not understand. They really thought Prabhupada was just going to be here, right? That he would be with them, and they just could not fathom. They could not understand, Prabhupada's whole vision.
The bigger vision. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada had that vision from even before he left for West. Because
he started his what is it? League of Devotees.
League of Devotees. And even when he was in Mumbai, before he left, there are conversations where ordinary people like Mumbai citizens, they recall how Prabhupada would sit in his chair and he would speak about something which could not fit in their brain, because they were seeing old sannyasi sitting here and he's speaking about something which is like, I mean, almost like a fantasy, almost like a.
Prabhupada was like before leaving, he was there. He was there, but he was already there also
He
in
was,
terms
yes.
in terms of the future developments.
So he had very clear vision.
Yes.
He was seeing it. They say even now, the modern corporate guru that teach people that if you want to get somewhere, you have to see that first.
Right. Yeah. But Prabhupada had that going back to 1956, 1949, when he describes
Right,
these four movements
in the essay,
of Gita Nagari,
and that was long before.
1956, and the gist of that essay in terms of the phases for developing the mission of Lord Chaitanya was also expressed in that 1949 letter. Prabhupada started writing, he started his Back to Godhead magazine in 44, right, 1944. And I'm sure in many of those articles he was sharing and expressing some of these, future developments that would be taking place. Yeah.
Not only he had the vision, but he knew how to execute it. A lot of people, they think.
Yeah.
And, talking about San Francisco that he mentioned after that rock concert,
Right.
I think he asked Shyamsunder, or I'm not sure, one of his early disciples, he said, okay, so what was the profit? And, there was hippies, they knew nothing about accounting.
Right.
He said, what is that? How many tickets? So he had no account. So then Prabhupada sits with him and shows him how to write a ledger.
Yes.
Yeah, account, all the basics of it.
Okay.
So from now on, this is how you should write.
Yes.
So the execution is also.
Yes.
So Prabhupada told that 50% of his work was not done. And definitely Krishna didn't give him time. And definitely Srila Prabhupada is like over mundane understanding. He's like a Brahmabhuta person who is directly under the control of Krishna. But still we have to follow his desire. So if anyone put together that what the steps of the next 50% would be, and then we see the result, okay, Varnashram is at least established in the main centers, any centers in ISKCON. So if anyone have a understanding that what are the steps, means like you told this Gita Nagari essay, there are 4 steps,
Yeah.
which are like a framework, and then fill up how to establish temples. Okay, establish temples by sending grihastas here and there, and then do Harinam Sankirtan and start book distribution, collect money, and then maintain the temple. And then the next step, how to initiate persons. Okay, you have to have a Bhakti Shastri and some, and then you initiate. And how the next generation comes up. Okay, a few persons have to specially train for becoming initiating devotee, and then that's it. So is there any clear understanding which are the steps to establish the Varnashram, any form of Varnashram which is working? Because as Srila Narada Muni told that in any other time,
Yes.
Varnashram is different. So if anyone have a understand, okay, different, but these are the main steps which we reveal what is the difference or what is the practical application of that plan.
It will most likely vary according to the person you speak to.
Because we're studying devotees who are trying to
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do they have this
Yes.
clear vision, frame?
I would say that it is helpful to hear from different devotees who have some understanding of, especially those who might have had some interaction with Srila Prabhupada. That's something we're trying to do here, actually, to bring together the different realizations of devotees, especially mostly their Prabhupada disciples, who have had interaction with Srila Prabhupada and who have, over the decades, to different extent, to different levels, have been working on this. Some of these devotees are much less known. One devotee, for example, who came to India even before most devotees came to India, Tejas Prabhu, who was the temple president in Delhi, in New Delhi, in those early days. He came with what they call Peace Corps, as a volunteer with the Peace Corps. Peace Corps is a international organization where they send young people to different countries to help in different ways like that. Well, without getting into a whole second Bhagavatam class, what this particular project is endeavoring to do is to actually spell out a process in keeping in mind the instruction that Prabhupada has given in terms of the 4 phases, and there are different, our understanding, I say our understanding because there are a number of devotees who are cultivating this particular understanding, is that Varnashram is not meant to be simply something that will be understood or followed in our temples.
Right.
In so many ways, it's meant to be more fully and completely applied and introduced outside of our temples. Because we fail to understand, in general, in the world, even unfortunately as devotees, what is very fundamental in terms of Vedic culture. And that is that the full spectrum, the more complete picture in terms of Varnashram lifestyle will only be possible when we revive what is meant to be the natural way of living, of making what we call making a living. In other words, when we revive villages, that's why I'm saying that Varnashram is not something to be implemented per se in a city temple. It is meant to be established in a natural environment, which traditionally, that's why Vrindavan village is our model. Vrindavan village, what the residents of Vrindavan live, where they are practicing the perfect Vedic economy, where they are practicing the perfect Vedic education. Unless we learn, that's why Varnashram College is so important, because Varnashram College will teach our devotees the basics, and especially will give an opportunity for those who are inclined and qualified to become actual Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, and who will be able to lead society. So therefore, without the presence, without our reconnecting with both the cows and the land, we cannot reestablish Varnashram. Of course, if you speak to some individuals and if you hear some of the interviews, some will say that, those who speak only about farms and cows, that's not really Varnashram. Uh, um, that is, in my humble understanding, we cannot have Varnashram, actual Varnashram, unless we have those components of living off the land, growing our own food, uh, protecting cows, and introducing the standard principles um, based on what we call the Vedic sciences. The Varnashram College is meant to teach those 4 basic sciences. So it's obviously completely different to what we see and what is being promoted in modern day society. And that's fine, because fine in the sense that we know what is being promoted is simply destroying, destroying individuals, destroying our planet, destroying in all respects.
Maharaj, as you say, right, it has to be, those components have to be present.
The
Components, the
Yeah, yeah.
land and cow,
Major
right?
components.
Major components, that's the foundation.
yes,
And establishing devotee sustainable communities can happen on that basis.
yes,
But the actual vision is even much larger, because the entire system has to be changed. Otherwise, changing a cog in the wheel in
Yes.
itself does not make, it's not, does not
yeah.
help achieve the entire goal. It's like a social revolution of the scale of, the French Revolution or whatever. You're basically changing the whole society.
That's why Srila Prabhupada used the word overhaul.
Overhaul.
One of the purposes of the Krishna consciousness movement is to bring a complete overhaul in society and revert to the natural system of Varnashram. That's a direct quote, actually, from Srila Prabhupada. One of many quotes. So to some extent we can introduce some principles of Varnashram everywhere, but the full spectrum, the full expression of Varnashram must be in villages. We've destroyed, in America, 95% of the population live in towns and cities.
95.
Yes. In India, when I came to India in '76, I think the percentage of villagers was maybe 85% or possibly more. Now it is below 60.
Also, farmers in America, more than 40% of the population used to be farmers more than 100 years ago. Now it is less than 1%.
Yes.
So then it means that 5% population is feeding 95%.
Yes.
They have these mega farms.
Well, that's why now they want to produce food in factory.
Right. Right. Factory food.
Factory food.
Food.
Yeah.
Factory.
We are so advanced now as scientists. We know the chemical composition of a tomato or whatever. You just make them in factory. It's already done.
Artificial meat they are making. Yeah.
There is the principle that grihasthas should provide all the economic power for anyone else.
Yes.
And that means grihasthas should live on the country,
Yeah.
on the field, on
Yes.
the land,
Yes.
and they provide whatever the others have
Yes.
to eat, have to work like that.
Yeah. In the purport.
Otherwise,
Yes.
if
Yes.
grihasthas living in the cities,
Yes, yes. So that's why we're missing the point, which is actually mentioned very nicely in the introduction to the book speaking about Varnashram. Prabhupada to celebrate Prabhupada's centennial, 1996, this research on community development was started, actually commissioned by the GBC. So this group of devotees, they came together and they put this book. And they mentioned a very important point that we're missing. We're missing even now, majority of that our city temples are meant to train devotees for 2 purposes. One is to preach in the cities, and the second is to prepare devotees to go back to the village, to actually build up self-sufficient communities. Which temple in the world is doing that? which temple president in the world even knows about this?
Is this Prabhupada's instruction or a resolution in 1996?
It's not, well, Prabhupada gave so many instructions in line with that,
Yeah.
but the point I'm making is that this was the realization of that group of devotees, who by studying all of the different instructions. I mean, there's a direct quote from Prabhupada where Prabhupada says, we don't want cities.
Yes, yes.
We don't want cities. The cities are not going to be there after some time.
Right.
And even if they are, this way of living is the better way of living.
Even now, outside world is understanding that and coming up with
A lot of academicians,
So
they know.
at the moment it's like we as devotees, even after all Prabhupada's instructions, we are still not able to understand what outside people
Yeah, right.
are coming up and saying that okay, this is the solution. Yes.
Yes.
So either we do it or we will be forced to just follow whatever people will be doing. So
Yeah.
better to
Yeah.
take action.
So the modes are kicking in right now, as you can see. So
702.
yeah, well.
Okay.
Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Prabhupada ki Jai.
Radha Swami Maharaj.